Many people are wondering why is it that Mattel might be so worried about the Barbie movie when the first weekend looks so good? Well, the matter of the fact is that they have much more planned than just a first weekend. And while we wait to see how ultra woke goes over in the second and third weekends at the box office, especially worldwide, and especially as we watch international markets revolt against this movie after the first and second days, we're looking at you, Japan, we're looking at you, South Korea. Well, the truth is that Mattel has 14 other films that they want to develop. And if this movie sinks those chances, then it is far more costly than just its budget. All right, folks, welcome back to another wonderful day here on the WDW Pro channel. It is such a joy that you have elected to join us. And today we are talking all about this massive Mattel cinematic universe. Everybody seems to want in on it, especially after Nintendo is looking so fancy, so dapper in their NCU attire, as Marvel is sinking these other various studios, various IP holders. They're smelling blood in the water. They want in. Well, Mattel was one such party wishing to get in on the party. The problem here is that this Barbie movie, well, it may actually harm their chances, even if it is successful financially. What a bizarre world to live in for Mattel. And that is also why we'll be covering in the next week, we hope, perhaps the next day even, the freakout that is happening behind the scenes at Mattel, according to our sources out of the C-suite, out of the execs, who are very, very concerned that following this first weekend, we hear that they have some trepidation as well about how this is going to go in terms of public reception and overall brand damage that could occur, especially in light of the fact that we've had companies like Bud Light, companies, well, we'll just stop there. That's plenty enough, right? Or Disney. Disney is another one. But these companies that have faced massive consumer backlash, could Barbie be next? Don't be surprised and don't be shocked as these various media outlets are crowing about the success of Barbie, that they're actually walking it down into the abyss of Barbie. Well, folks, it is not all sunshine and roses when it comes to Barbie and Mattel. Partly that's because we're also watching as this Mattel Cinematic Universe is being developed by people who probably will go in this exact same direction. How much power and influence does Mattel have over that? That is a great question. And who's on the board of directors for Mattel? Oh, we're going there later this week. Just you wait and see. All right, folks, here's the conversation from the Pro Show, where we discovered all of this and brought it out for you, again, as we explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve.
If I was Mattel, I'd be panicked, and for a lot of reasons, and mostly because what Jonas knows that I'm just going to lightly segue into. They have a lot of irons in the fire when it comes to theatrical productions, and they are on the verge of, complete panic mode for not only that, but imagine if you have that much money invested in maybe some future films, and you have all these toys and things, and Barbie specifically is 1/3 of all of your earnings. You earn as a toy company, toy sales are down, but you're doing okay. 5.5, whatever, somewhere between 5.1 and 5.5 billion dollars a year in revenue, in gross revenue, and Barbie's 1/3 of that. And what happens if you get a Bud Light moment with Barbie? What happens? What happens if you devalue your toy market?
Or worse, if it goes to the other toy lines.
Exactly, and it spills over into everything else, kind of like what Bud Light and Target and everybody else is experiencing right now when they run afoul of the traditional values that they supposedly espoused. Well,
Okay, so let's ask about that, panel. Why do these companies continue to do this? This continues to drive them into the gutter. We've seen it out of Lucasfilm. By the way, video out this morning. There's an analyst out there, and not one to be dismissed easily, who claims that Lucasfilm has dropped somewhere between 50 and 75% of its overall value since it was acquired by Disney. This is something that we're watching over and over and over, and yet these companies, as if they're in some sort of religious fervor, they don't modify and say, screw it, we're not going to do it. Except for Nintendo.
No.
Let's say that. Nintendo seems to get it. But
go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to say,
you're right. They are almost like they are a religious fervor. It's the cult of
It is.
DEI. It's the cult of ESG. And a lot of these
which is now
companies
more
believe,
powerful than money. How did that happen?
Right. But that's because it is money, right? That is money at the end of the day. They get massive funds. Now you point to Nintendo, Japanese, famously quite conservative, famously very much like traditional. This is this is that, and it's actually exactly the same with Toho, another Japanese company. And what you're pointing to there are companies who are very smart and they have an extreme iron grip handle on their properties. Toho, every single decision that Legendary, every single thing that you saw in any of the MonsterVerse movies had to be approved by Toho. Famously, there was going to be a scene in Godzilla King of the Monsters where Mothra killed someone, and Toho were like, no, you can't do that. So what they did to circumvent that decision was have Mothra as a caterpillar throw one of the guards into a spider's web, and the implication is it kind of gets killed off screen by a giant spider. But these companies, Nintendo, Sega's another one, I'm sure, with Sonic, right? They have a handle on it, and normally they're from parts of the world which aren't heavily into the ESG, the DEI, which is a cult. It is, it is money, it is a cult, and that's where they think that their future lies. Hopefully, by the way, now,
Mr. H, you bring up Sonic. That was one of the first films that I noticed that out of the Japanese side, something was different and the crowds were reacting in a different manner. Remember that in the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, who is the sidekick? It's not Tails. No, it is a police officer who is presented in a positive manner. And he is married,
family, isn't it?
Yes, and he's married to a woman of African descent. And yet he's a police officer, and it was presented in a positive way. And I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? The mainstream media didn't want to cover it, but I took notice.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I don't put it past the companies you pointed out are so disconnected from those things, and they don't have to be intrinsically linked to all the ESG and DEI. Nintendo has got so much money behind them; it's obscene. They command such a massive market anyway. Mattel unequivocally should be concerned. They should be worried. But, insert Joker meme here. You get what you deserve, because they didn't have a grip on their property properly. They farmed it out to Netflix. They farmed it. This one was now Warner Brothers, I think. They farmed them out left, right, and center without getting the right deals in place to keep a proper grip on their property. So at the end of the day, they should be concerned, and anything that comes their way, they've earned it. They deserve it. But this movie will make money, because I think I've read it had $100 million budget.
Yeah. Yes.
Marketing is quite big, though. That's quite a large marketing budget for sure, but it will make money.
It will, but we're at odds with the reporting on that. It's because it's been widely reported at 100 million, but it's been suggested it was 150 million in production costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll have a massive opening weekend.
Yeah.
It will probably make money, but will it make that $1 billion that they wanted,
right,
which they did, because that's how it was pitched to them?
Right.
No.
Pro, I'm going to steal your screen for just a second and put the pretty lady up there. But unfortunately, I got to go all the way down to the bottom of this article.
What have you got, Jonas? What have you found in here?
Mattel has 14 projects in active development. Or
Jonas, are you saying they've buried the lead on this, and there's an entire multiverse of Mattel toys that are
Mattel
all,
Cinematic Universe?
Yes,
dependent on this film doing well?
Hot Wheels, Lena Dunham's Polly Pocket.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Hire her?
Oh, I cannot wait.
Doing?
Vin
Nate,
Diesel.
her talent levels are the same size as Polly Pocket. It works out perfectly. They're both in miniature.
Oh my goodness!
What are you doing?
Can I suggest that this is actually undercounting the projects they have in development?
Well, yeah. These are not counting the things that they've just got somewhere on the back burner, and they've taken Masters of the Universe off this list.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the mystery box that is Hot Wheels and the lens flares as those little cars go through the loops. You are not going to believe the lens flares.
I will be getting rid of my little Hot Wheels if that.
Hey, look! If I didn't promise this poster to my mom, You know, I'd be selling this puppy right here because you know they're giving that stuff away. I got a little button.
J.J. Abrams, Lena Dunham, Vin Diesel, Tom Hanks.
Well,
I hadn't even heard of the Major Matt Mason toy. I don't know how you build a cinematic universe off of something that someone has never heard of. This sounds to me like it could be Dark Universe all over again. If they have,
I'm only disappointed Mark Ruffalo has not yet received a project. I mean, this they're really falling on the saber. I mean, it's
I
not.
think they've got
saber.
They've got 9.
It's not liberal enough yet. Come on.
Maybe he could be. Now that isn't that the He-Man that we've always wanted, the whiny, entitled, liberal, pretending to be poor He-Man.
Wait,
Yeah, that's
that's what I've been waiting for.
He's been in sweatpants on the picket line. By the way, folks, we will be getting to the Hollywood strike. If you have not yet voted in the poll, I am trying to get a handle on just what the perception is. I'll say this. I was watching a stream earlier this week, and there were some writers on there, and they were talking about the situation they're facing in Hollywood, talking about their plight, and I'm not here to dismiss it. But I had put out a Twitter poll, and I had seen the results, and it's being emulated again here, reflected the same way in the poll that we have here on this live stream, in 3 options: who's on the right and who should win. You know, writers and actors, movie studios and distributors, or does Hollywood just suck? 85% of you so far have selected Hollywood just sucks. So, how am I supposed to cover this? Because on Twitter, I've got more than 1,000 votes saying Hollywood just sucks, and here on this stream, we've got people saying Hollywood just sucks. So, how am I supposed to get a writer onto this channel or an actor to talk to them about this when they know that, well, everybody just hates us?
Well,
and
here's the thing: that
of an individual, but it is what it is. I mean, that's where Hollywood has put itself. All right, and that is a wrap. We hope you really, really enjoyed that conversation as we are beginning to discover what is happening with Mattel, what is happening with this effort, and just exactly why everybody involved should be watching closely to see how Barbie performs. If Barbie does well in the second and third weekends, then you can be sure you're going to get even more wokety in these toy movies coming out in the future. However, if it does not perform well, and we don't know yet what's going to happen because this is a little bit unprecedented, but if it does not do well, then Mattel might be entering into toy hell. All right, folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and tell us your thoughts. We really do care. We really do read them, and we often respond. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.